জীবনের উন্নতি করতে হলে তো ব্যাংক ফিনান্সিয়াল করতেই হবে। তখন এই সেখানে কোনো নম্বর কিছু আসে কালকে আমার চাকরি আসার মধ্যে রেখে দিতে হবে 900 টাকা কাজ করতে।
সামনে বসে কিছু হলে ফোন করো। ঠিক আছে, তুই বললি তো আমি পড়বো, তো শুনে নিলাম। দেখি
আমি চেঞ্জ করে
of the same.
মানে বাজে লাগছে না তো বেশি লুকিং ফরওয়ার্ড টু we should submit के जगह पे we have to submit looking forward নাকি
সবগুলো
আরেকটা
সেম
লিখে
কন্টেন্ট নেই।
করছি এখন লিখে দেবো নাকি or else we can is there anyone with whom we can coordinate TAs or something
Okay, welcome everyone present here. So as of now, we don't have any attendees joining this live session right now. So we will wait for a couple of more minutes for them to join, for let's say 3-4 minutes, and then we will be starting our live session. এমন নর্মাল যেটা থাকে সেটা করে
না অন্য বড় বড়
ঠিক আছে।
যেটা করা হচ্ছে রেসপেক্টেড স্যার you can coordinate with any of the team regarding the same feedback. Looking forward to doing so.
Okay, fine. So we will be starting our live session now. I will share my screen. Okay. Today we will have most of the questions related to landfills, and there will be some numerical based questions which are a bit more technical than what we usually solve. But if you know the formula, it is very simple and straightforward. So before I start, I will first introduce myself. I am the TA allotted to this course on integrated waste management for a smart city, and currently I'm doing my pursuing my PhD from IIT Kharagpur under the supervision of Professor Brijesh Kumar Dubey and Professor Makaran Madhav Bhandari. So after this introduction, we will start our live session now. The questions. So the first question, I will type it first. So the question is, the volumetric water content where the plants can no longer draw moisture from the soil is called. A very basic question which we have also read or we have also been taught in our, I hope in some of our school days. I will share the options. Fine. So these are our options. You can have about 1 or 2 minutes to think about it and then I will reveal the answer. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is building point. So it is the building point is the point. Okay, hello Gautam. So I was just going through the questions. This is just question number one for today's live session, and I will just quickly brief again myself. So Today's we are having the week 9 live session on integrated waste management for a smart city, and I am the TA allotted, one of the TAs allotted for this course. And as per my personal introduction, I am currently pursuing my PhD from IIT Kharagpur under the supervision of Professor Brajesh Kumar Dubey and Professor Makaran Madhav Ghandrikar. So we have 15 questions with us today, just as for any other live session, and typically all of them are basically related to the landfill and its related concepts, and few of them are numerical based, very specific to the landfills, and if you know the formula, very straightforward as well. So our first question was that the volumetric water content where the plants can no longer draw the moisture content from soil. What is that moisture content known as? So, in case if you have anything, you know the answer or want to share something, you can either unmute yourself or you can also use the chat box. I can wait for about 30
Uh,
seconds.
Hello.
Hello? Yeah.
Actually, I'm a bit behind with the course. I have only finished week 8.
Okay.
Week 9 I haven't started yet. So today discussion is only about week 8, 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it's fine. I will just, these are all questions are all very straightforward. I
Mhm.
will just discuss them and you can have an understanding of them. And in case these are all recorded sessions, so usually they are uploaded on YouTube as well. So later on, if you want to again go through these questions, you can always use that option.
Where I can find the links for this recorded sessions?
Yeah, I will put it in the chat box.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
After this, our today's live session, I will put it in the chat box. You can copy it.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Okay. So, okay. So for this particular question, the point, the moisture content, volumetric water content or moisture content where the plants can no longer draw any water from the soil, it is known as wilting point. After that,
Mm.
the plants start wilting. So this was our first question.
Okay.
So, okay, fine. Yeah, so I have a slide for it as well. Yeah, so if you can look at this particular thing, so here you can see that there is a relation, not a relation basically, but a hierarchy. So there are usually three or four types of various types of moisture content which have been categorized into. One is in this particular figure, one is the saturation point, then field capacity, then this is wilting point. So obviously wilting point means it has the lowest moisture content, followed by field capacity, and then highest is saturation point. So just a correlation, which will again be, there is another, I think one or two more questions pertaining to this particular relationship. So now I will be moving on to another one. Okay, so this is a cell of a landfill. Let's assume that, and I will give you a few datas. So P is the precipitation that is happening here, and the total volume is 3 meter cube. Then we have evapotranspiration. It is 0.5 meter cube. S is the surface runoff. L is the leachate that is seeping out of the landfill liner. And then this is a leachate well. Yeah, so this is the leachate well. So your question is you have to find out how much of the leachate will be collected inside this landfill. So this is the landfill, and usually we denote. So this is what we need to find out. I will just repeat the question again, that this is a landfill cell that you can assume, wherein you have to calculate the amount of leachate that will be collected inside this landfill, where P is the precipitation, the amount of precipitation in meter cubes, ET is evapotranspiration, S is surface runoff, QL is the leachate that is getting stored in some leachate well, and L is the leachate that is leaking out of the liner, landfill liner. So how much of the leachate will be stored inside the landfill? This is a very simple and very basic question. In fact, if someone doesn't know about the landfill, he or she can also solve this. Just a simple mass balance equation question. You can have about 3-4 minutes or 5 minutes to think about this question. Then we will solve this if needed. What you have to do, just a little hint in this question, uh, because you have to find out the del S, that is the amount of leachate that is being stored inside this landfill. So if you really think about it, how is the leachate generated? It is generated when there is a liquid or water which is seeping through the landfill waste. What can be the source of that water? That is precipitation. So you see that total the water that is coming in, it is in the form of precipitation whose volume has been provided. Out of that water, some of them is lost due to evapotranspiration, some is lost due to the surface runoff, while some of it, the water, if the precipitation, it is getting stored as this leachate in the leachate collection well, while a certain fraction of it is also seeping into the ground. So what can be the amount that is stored inside the landfill cell?
So typically, hydrogen generation by actually lies which are not
ঈশা
there is conference.
কি ঢেলেছে? আমি ঢালবো না, আমি ঢালবো না, না না, যেটা আগে ওখানে ঢেলেছে ওটাকেই চেঞ্জ। এখানে কনফারেন্সের ঢেলে তো বেশি ভ্যালু হয় না, না পাবলিকেশন করার থেকে আগে পাবলিশ হয়ে যাওয়ার পরে এখানে ঢাললে ঠিক আছে। নাহলে তো নভেলটি চলে যাবে না, পরে যখন পাবলিশ হবে। কোনটা? যেটা আগে সাবমিট করেছিলাম। হ্যাঁ, হুম। তুই আইআইটিটা খোল, এটা যে লোকেশনে আছে ওই লোকেশনে ওটাও হবে। Okay, so we will quickly solve this question now. Very simple. See, this is a basic and plain and simple mass balance wherein del S, I will just copy this. This is equal, will be equal to the precipitation minus, precipitation is the mass of water coming in minus all the losses. The losses will be due to evapotranspiration, surface runoff, leachate that is leaking from the landfill, and the leachate which is stored in the collection wells, leachate collection wells. So just solve this and then we will get the answer. And if you really do this, the answer that you will have is 0.25 meter cube. So option D is the correct answer. Now we will move to the next question. So you have to like in the first question only I have disclosed the answer of this. You have to find the relationship between field capacity, evapotranspiration, and wilting point. Theta WP is the wilting point. FC is the field capacity, and this is saturation. So out of these four, which is the correct option? So as I have explained in question number 1, and you can see this correlation, wilting point is the lowest one, followed by field capacity and then saturation. So that is why if you look at this question, option 2 will be the correct answer. So now we will move on to the next question. And so the next one is a numerical type question wherein you have been given the total amount of solid waste left after 5 years of decay. So this is what you need to find out. So what you have to find, total amount. So this is what you need to find out. What you have been provided is initial waste, which is 1 kiloton, and decay rate 0.4 tons per year. So a small hint for this question, this you can calculate the mass that will remain after 5 years by using this first order exponential decay model. MT is the mass that is remaining after T amount of time, which is in years, and then is equal to m naught e raised to the power minus kt. This is similar to the BOD equation that we often use to determine the BOD of certain waste after certain amount of time. So similar one, this is as well. So you can make a note of this particular question, this particular equation, and use it to solve the question. I hope you have noted this down. So I will show the question now. You can use the chat box to share the answer. Otherwise, I will solve this particular question in about 2 more minutes. এই করে দিচ্ছে, আমার তো কোনো করার ইচ্ছা নেই। তোরটা হয়ে গেছে? বেশি ঠিক ঠিক করা দরকার নেই, আমার তো দেওয়ার ইচ্ছা নেই। ये सारे वही एक ही कॉन्फ्रेंस का है। Okay, so quickly I will solve. Like there is nothing to solve in this particular question. You can use a calculator and do this. But still, MT is what I don't know. MT is the amount of solid waste that will remain after 5 years. So if I am going by the question, M after 5 years is equal to initial mass is 1 kiloton, that means 1000 ton, into e raised to the power minus kt, and k is what? Minus 0.4 into t. T is the time, that is in 5 years. So if you solve this particular equation, you will get the answer, which is around 135 tons, 135.33. So that is why option C is the correct answer. So now moving on to the next question, which is again a numerical based one. You have to find out how much methane is produced from degradation of SW is solid waste, and the amount of solid waste you have is 1 mole, and this solid waste is getting degraded in landfill. Fine, this information is given. Then the chemical formula of the solid waste, that is also shared. So it is C100, H250, O50, and N4. So this is the chemical formula. I will share the options and you can determine what the answers. All the values they are in mole. So that is why I'm not writing it again and again for each option. So all the options, these values are still available. Okay, so this is, you can have about 2-3 minutes to think about this question. After that, I will show you the formula that you have to use. You can note it down somewhere, and then in case that you have not been able to calculate the answer, I will just simply share the same with you. If you have already solved the question, you can share the answer in the chat box. জিএসপিএল এ যেটা আগে করেছিলাম ওটাকে চেঞ্জ করে দিই। Okay, so the formula that you need to use for this particular question will be this one. I will just, you can quickly note it down somewhere. This is the chemical formula of the solid waste, and based on this you can see use it, this 4a plus b minus 2c minus 3d whole divided by 8. So this will be the number of moles of methane that will be produced. So based on this, if you want to calculate, you can simply use your calculator and find the same. So now this is very easy. I hope you can quickly calculate the answer. So simply using that particular equation, the correct answer is 67.25 moles. So now we will move on to the next question. And this is a normal theoretical based one. So which of the following is not one of the on-site management options for handling of construction and demolition waste? Yeah, so these are your options. You can take a couple of minutes, think about the answer, and then we will have a small discussion of the same. Okay, so you can see a particular slide that will help you. So I think that is not yet fine. So among these particular options, the option D is the correct option because land disposal obviously is not one of the on-site management options. When the construction C and D wastes are generated at site, what you can do that you can process it to reuse it again in some way. For example, if you are demolishing some walls or something, you can generate the, you know that a lot of bricks will be generated, so you can crush them to some degree and then use it again in the foundation. Then similarly, you can also do in the construction options and then separation of recoverable materials. So while demolitions, a lot of reinforcements are also available. So you can separate those reinforcements, maybe recycle them, or like process them to a certain degree and then reuse them again. So these are some of the on-site activities of waste management options. But land disposal is what, like whatever is remaining that you know that you right now you can't make use of anything, and you don't have any other plan also except disposing it. So you will finally send it to some landfill, C&D waste management sites, or for land disposal and all. So that is why this land disposal is not an on-site; it is an off-site waste handling option for C&D waste. So now we will move to question number, I think, 5. Let me see. No, it's question number 7. Yeah, and it will be a true and false type. Your statement is okay. So the statement is the waste generators who generate more than 20 tons of 20 tons or more of that waste in one day, or per project they are generating about 300 tons or more waste in each month. They should submit a waste management plan to get appropriate approvals. So the keyword is for each day 20 tons or more quantity of waste, or for each project 300 tons or more quantity of waste is being generated each month. In that scenario, they have to submit a waste management plan. So do you think it is true or is it false? You can use the chat box to type your answer as well. So in this particular slide, you can go through the points. These are some of the duties of the waste generators. They should pay the relevant charges for handling the C&D waste as notified by the concerned authorities. Then in next point, the answer is hidden. Waste generators who generate more than 20 tons or more amount of waste in one day, or 300 tons per month for each project, they should follow the following points. Segregate the waste into 4 streams such as concrete, soil, steel, wood, plastic, bricks and mortar. Then submit the waste management plan and get an appropriate approvals. Inform authorities regarding the activities at different state of the project. So this second bullet, it is what our statement also states. So that is why in this particular question, the correct answer is true. Now moving on to the next one. Okay, so this is also a very basic question that we have studied in our schools. So when the water is converted from liquid phase to vapor phase from plants through the stomata openings. So what is that event or that process is called? Your options are these are your options. So you can think about this for 2 minutes. So in here, the correct answer is transpiration. That is what the conversion of liquid phase water to vapor phase water through the stomata means is called. And if you consider both evaporation and transpiration at the same time, then it will be called a combined phenomenon will be evapotranspiration. So I will see if I have any other points regarding this. Yeah, here it is. You can see that evapotranspiration, evaporation, we all know. Liquid phase to vapor phase, transition of water. Then transpiration is what the question itself said, wilting point that has already been discussed. Just a note, what will be the difference between evaporation and vaporization? So that is very crucial because in both the definitions, in both the cases, liquid phase water, it is getting converted to not just water evaporation or any other liquid, evaporation and vaporization, the liquid phase is getting converted to gaseous phase. In case of evaporation, the conversion occurs below the boiling point, but in vaporization, that by definition it means that the conversion of liquid phase to vapor phase or the gaseous phase, it is occurring at the boiling point of that particular liquid. So that is the basic difference. So now we will be moving to the next question. So which of the following parameters can be estimated by the help software? And help software that you must have seen in the online classes or in lectures, help model is hydraulic evaluation of landfill performance. So the short form is help, hydraulic evaluation of landfill performance. So which of the following parameters can be estimated by using this model or software? And your options will be okay. So you can also have again 2 minutes to think about this question. Very simple and very easy. Help full form is hydraulic evaluation of landfill performance. these kind of questions, they are in case if you even don't know the parameters, but if you look at the options and apply the common sense, it is very easy. Okay, so the correct answer for this particular question is option 2. This software can help me calculate the amount of leachate buildup in the land under above the landfill line. So now we will move on to the next question. So the which of the following models that I will type in will be used for predicting landfill gas generation? One will be the help. You can again have 2 minutes to think about this question. Okay, so my mic was mute in the previous question, so I will just dictate it again, a couple of a few previous ones. So the change in water from liquid phase to vapor phase, that is known as transpiration. And if you want to include both evaporation and transpiration, both are occurring at the same time, then it will be known as evapotranspiration. So there is a basic difference. Now, if someone asks you like what is the difference between evaporation and vaporization, so then the basic difference is that in evaporation and vaporization, both the cases, the liquid phase it gets converted into the gaseous phase. But in case of vaporization, this conversion occurs at the boiling point. But for evaporation, it can occur below the boiling point as well. So this is what we see around us in various seasons. Now, in the next question, the point that was being asked is that which of the following parameters can be calculated by using help software. So in here the correct answer is the amount of leachate buildup in the landfill liner above the landfill liner. That is what it can help us calculate, one of the parameters. And in this particular question, you have to select the model that is used for calculating or predicting the landfill gas generation. You can have about 1 minute to think about this. So the right answer for this particular question is LandGem. And if you want to know the full form of LandGem, it is landfill gas emission model. Land Gem, G is gas, E is emission, and M is model. So this is the full form. So moving on to the next question. So the question is, which of the following disease which of the following, I will write the options, diseases is caused due to the respiration of asbestos fibers. Yeah, you can think, you can have 1 minute. So lung cancer is the correct answer in this particular question. And apart from lung cancer, there is another disease that can be caused due to it, and this disease is mesothelioma. So if you want to read about it, like asbestos exposure is one of the primary reasons, a risk factor that causes this disease, and it accounts for up to 80% of all the cases. Asbestos exposure, that is the reason for 80% of all the cases, up to. Then living with someone who works with asbestos may also increase the individual risk for developing this disease because of asbestos particles can travel on skin and clothing. That can be another reason. That people who are living with someone who works with asbestos, in fact, they will also be at risk of this disease. So now moving with the next question. It is a true and false type. So the aggregate that you obtain from C&D waste that can be used again as concrete in simple low level construction buildings. Very easy. What do you think? Is it true or false? So the correct answer is true. Now coming to the next question. So in asphalt concretes, how much percentage of asphalt is there by weight? So fine. So this is the question. In asphalt concrete, what is the proportion of asphalt weight proportion by weight? So all the options are in percentages. So these are your options. Okay, for this particular question, the correct answer is 6. Why? Like, if you even think about it, in the previous question only, you know that asphalt exposure, it is really, really hazardous. So that is why, in fact, if you take a look at it, the first thing that will cross your mind is that the asphalt proportion in concrete, that should be low. And the lowest option here, that is option 6, this is the correct answer. So 6% is the maximum limit up to which asphalt can be present in such asphalt concretes. So moving on to the next question. And in now the next two questions, it can have more than one correct answer. So I will just type them down. So first is, which of the following does not fall under the category of C&D waste? Sorry, options not does not fall. It is which of the following does fall under the category of C&D waste. These are your options. So you can think about it for 1 or 2 minutes. So the obvious correct answers are concrete, tiles, and bricks, except garden trimmings. The rest of them are the ones that will fall under the category of C&D waste. And I think I have a slide also for this. So you can see that in here, the different proportions of C&D waste in India, and this study is a bit older, 2013, but still. So you can see that 65% of the C&D waste, it mostly comprises of concrete, while after that we have 25% belonging to bricks and tiles, then 5% due to wood, and then about 2% each for metals and others, and finally 1% belonging to plastics. So then a more recent calculation or observation of 2015, it was observed that bricks and masonry, this was another study, they were containing about 31%, then 36% was due to soil, sand, gravel, 23% due to concrete, and 5% for metals. Well, the remaining were other minute amounts. Now we will move on to the last question of this live session, which will be, which of the following parameters is or are used as input parameters in help software? Parameters is or are used as And again, mentioning the full form of L, hydraulic evaluation of landfill performance. So that is the full form of the software, and the options are, so these are the options. You can think about it for a minute. Okay, so in here the correct answer is precipitation, soil data, and solar radiation. These are the input parameters which are used in health software, but not the biotic data. So now we will quickly go through today's questions again. So the first question was the volumetric water content where plants can no longer draw moisture from soil. What is that known as? It is known as the wilting point. Then second was a numerical, easy numerical type question where you have been provided the precipitation data, and what you have to calculate is that amount of leachate that will be collected inside the landfill or stored inside the landfill. So this landfill cell, to be more specific. So the data that has been shared is that the precipitation is 3 meter cube evapotranspiration, the losses, other losses like evapotranspiration, surface runoff, then leakage to the landfill liners, and then the leachate that is getting collected in the leachate well. All of these values were given. And you have to calculate the amount that is stored inside the landfill. So following simple mass balance concepts, total precipitation and subtract all the other outflows, you will get the amount that is getting stored inside, which is 0.25 meter cube. So the next was a question related to the relationship or the hierarchy between the feed capacity, evapotranspiration, and wilting point. Among these, the highest is, sorry, this is more like feed instead of evapotranspiration. I think this should be saturation point. Then it will be proper. Yeah. So field capacity, saturation, and wilting point. So in that case, highest moisture content, it is referring to the saturation point, followed by field capacity, and last is the wilting point. Now moving to the next question. Total amount of solid waste that would be left after 5 years of decay. So this is what you need to calculate, and you have to share the initial amount of solid waste and the decay. So what you have to do is that you have to follow the first order exponential decay model, wherein the formula states that MT, that is the mass of waste that is remaining after T years, is equal to M naught into e raised to the power minus KT. The K is the decay rate and T is the time. So use that formula and you will get 135 ton as the answer. Then the next question was that a landfill is there where, let's say that the solid waste is amount is 1 mole. So you have to calculate how much methane will be generated. And the chemical equation of the chemical formula for the solid waste that has been also shared. So in order to solve this question, what you have to do is that there's an equation. This equation where the solid waste is getting converted to methane, 4a plus b minus 2c minus 3d whole divided by 8. This is the moles of methane that will be generated. Use this and you will get the answer. Yeah, so using this 67.25, that will be the answer. Then which of the following is not one of the on-site management options for handling C&D waste? So when I want to handle the C&D waste at site, what I can do is that I can process the waste somehow and then reuse it again. For example, if you are demolishing a wall, brick wall, you can demolish it and then use those crushed bricks as foundation for foundation as well. Then deconstruction, separation of some of the recoverable materials like plastics or reinforcement like that. So this is also another management option on site. Finally, the land disposal, that is something that is not occurring on site, it is happening at some other site. So in this particular question, option D is the correct answer. So next is a true and false type question where the waste generators who generate more than 20 tons of waste, 20 tons or more, amount of waste per day, or for each project the waste generation is 300 or more tons per month, they should submit a waste management plan to get appropriate approvals. This statement is true. And the next statement, what is the change of water from liquid to vapor phase known as when it is occurring through plants, particularly through the stomata openings. It is known as transpiration. Then in next question, which of the following parameters can be used to estimate the HELP software? The answer is option 2, that is the amount of leachate buildup above the landfill liner that can be calculated through this software. And the models or the model which is used for calculating or predicting, to be more precise, landfill gas generation, it is the LANGEM model, landfill gas emission model. That is the full form of LANGEM. Then next question, which of the following diseases caused due to the respiration of asbestos fiber? Among this, lung cancer is the correct answer. Then true and false statement, whether aggregate from C&D waste can be used again in concrete for simple low-level construction buildings. The answer is true. Then asphalt concrete contains approximately how much percentage of asphalt by weight? Answer is 6%. Then does which of the following falls under the category of C&D waste? This is a multiple choice answer question where there can be more than one correct answer. So that is why in here concrete, tiles and bricks, these are the correct option. And finally, the parameters which are used as input parameters in the HELP software, they are precipitation, soil data, and solar radiation. Biotic data is not one of the input parameters. So these were the questions that we had today. In case you have any doubt on any point that you would like to raise or anything else, you can use the chat box or you can unmute yourself and uh, share it with me. Otherwise, we will meet again for the week 10 live session next Monday, same timing 7 to 9 p.m. IST. If you have any doubt, you can always unmute yourselves and share that with on this platform.
No, sir.
Okay, in that case, these are the questions that we had, and just note that this live session today, these are the questions, and it is not mandatory to stay till 9. If in case you don't have any other questions or queries, you are always free to leave the session whenever you want. Okay, take care.
सर लॉजिस्टिक मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वेस्ट कैसे सर स्टडी करूँगा?
लॉजिस्टिक मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वेस्ट,
यस सर.
मतलब इसका तो ये है ना कि वेस्ट में जैसे कितना वेस्ट आ रहा है, कितना कहीं पे जा रहा है, उसका ट्रैक करना है.
ओके.
ये चीज एक्चुअली तुम्हारा वहां पे भी है अपना ट्रांसफर स्टेशन वगैरह सर ने पढ़ाया होगा कि कितना वेस्ट जो है वो कलेक्ट हो रहा है, कितना ट्रांसफर स्टेशन में जा रहा है, वहां से कितना अपना अलग अलग रिसाइकलिंग में जा रहा है, उसमें कलेक्शन टाइम, हॉलिंग टाइम, ये सब वगैरह थे कॉन्सेप्ट्स.
जी सर.
हाँ, तो ये जितना इस स्कोप के इस कोर्स के स्कोप में होगा उतना तो मेरे ख्याल से वो वाला पॉइंट कवर हो चुका है. तो आप वहाँ पे जाके सर के नोट्स वगैरह देख के आप थोड़ा बहुत हेल्प ले सकते हैं. उसके अलावा अगर आपको एक्स्ट्रा इसमें इंटरेस्ट है तो नेक्स्ट लाइव सेशन में आप ज्वाइन कीजिए और आपके जो एग्जैक्ट डाउट्स हैं या फिर जो चीज़ें आप बताना या ढूंढना चाहते हैं आप वो पॉइंट बाय पॉइंट शेयर कीजिए, तो फिर वी कैन हैव अ डिस्कशन ऑन दैट.
ओके सर.
जी,
थैंक यू सर.
वेलकम.